are already losing their jobs, losing their livelihood, which of course is something we are also fighting.
It made my blood boil to hear your Vice-Chancellor announcing on the very same day he said he would cut jobs here, another campus in India.
If unchecked, postgrads now might never find work again in a field flooded with more experienced, potentially more qualified candidates.
So I'm a marine biologist at Newcastle. I'm a senior lecturer. I've been here quite a long time now. So I've been at the university, including my PhD, so I've got a long history working for the institution, over 25 years now. So kind of more than half my life I've been working in the city, working on campus, becoming part of what was originally a really tight university family. I'm on the UCU branch committee, so it's kind of like the group of colleagues who informed of the decision making of what the branch does. My particular role is health and safety, and I'm taking kind of a very strong stance in looking after the mental health and the well-being of colleagues, because normally when people think of health and safety, they think of trips and spills and falls, and perhaps not the most interesting of things, but in an institution like Newcastle, where you've got so many people of different backgrounds, working in different areas, different pressures on them, quickly realise actually that the main role for someone interested in health and safety is someone's well-being, dealing with mainly work-related stress.
So much has changed, the atmosphere has changed. There is now an inbuilt bullying culture in this university. We see it all the time. The impacts on these cuts are going to have on your courses and the courses of the students that will follow you is going to be quite cataclysmic. So you will not be hearing press releases talking about faculty pro-vice chancellors designing programs as a minimal viable product. What does that mean? That means they're looking to reconfigure degrees with no options, no optional modules. They'll be looking to deliver vanilla degrees, so there'll be no unique selling points for what Newcastle does.
I'm a relatively new member of the union. I joined in 2018. I was aware that the union existed before that, but to my own fault, I never took the time or effort to actually learn what a union was or what it did. It was not something I had any prior experience of. But in the pension strikes in 2018, I felt I needed to get a little bit more involved and become maybe a little bit less naive in my workplace. And so I started there, and I've taken part in every part of industrial action since then, because you learn, if you're part of a union, that actually you're trying to defend your workplace, jobs of your colleagues, and you're trying to act on behalf of everyone, whether they're in the union or not. So to begin with, when I joined, it was very much passive. I remember the first strikes, for the first week of strikes, I didn't want to go on a picket line because I had it in my head. The sort of image you see on television of picket lines being quite aggressive, quite intimidating places, and that's not me, and I didn't want to be there. But I kind of got curious in the second week and thought, well, at the very least I can kind of go and see for myself what it's like. And then you realise actually there's a lot of camaraderie there, and you get to meet people you've never met before and learn a little bit more about what they're doing. And the fact that everyone there is a friend, and couldn't be any further from being a sort of an aggressive, conflicting environment where everyone's all smiles, and it's kind of like a little community in and of itself. It was everything I did. My entire life revolved around it, from the PhD, from my time as a very early academic, and even when I got married, kind of the early days of married life, everything still revolved around the work. You know, you would maybe occasionally carve out a few kind of minutes here and there to actually spend a bit of quality time with your partner, but at the end of the day, everything revolved around work. But back then, actually, you didn't mind doing it. You didn't mind committing to it, because there was a real family feeling to the university back then.
All right, hands up if you're struggling to get by on 130 grand a year. No? 69 people are employed at the university on over 130 grand a year. 212 people on more than £100,000 a year. And yet they are cutting 300 jobs. That's 1 in 20 staff. All of you UCU staff, you know you go in on a Monday and you've got nothing to do till the middle of Wednesday, no? Because you are already overworked. When you start cutting staff, jobs don't get done. Education suffers, research suffers. And isn't that the future of our country? And who decides who's getting laid off here? You know the average take-home, the average salary of a university lecturer in the UK is, Google tells me, £39,118 a year. Are people on those salaries getting to decide who keeps their job and who goes?
No.
And that's the injustice.
Everything you had to do, you had a key performance you had to hit. And if you weren't doing that, then it became a very high-pressured environment. And you start to lose a sense of joy in the job. So to kind of give you a bit of context, until my second son was born, I had never taken my full annual leave entitlement at all. I'd maybe take 1 year of holiday at Christmas. And I took my full 5 weeks whenever my son was born, because it was a difficult labour. And I felt such guilt in doing that. And you should never feel guilty about taking time off work to look after your child and your wife. But the way that the university was treating us and making us feel as if we took our foot off the pedal, that we were not just letting ourselves down, we were letting the people around us down. So you have to fight for something. You have to really believe in something, and you can see what it can be.
So if there's one thing to take away, is that there are no single job losses are required at this institution. I know, it's terrible. Chris Day is lying straight to all of our faces, and there are so many people here that he will be shaking in his boots. The staff do not support him, the students do not support him, the community does not support him. He is on his own and he needs to go. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Steph.
It's not something to be rushed into. It's considered, it's weighed out, it's thought about. But you do it because there is something better at the other end. Might be a bumpy road to get there, don't get me wrong. But, you know, at the end of every road there is a destination, to use a horrible cliche.